Helene here in Las Vegas. Always great to be joined by the one and only Mr. Herb Dean. Now, first off, happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I've been. It was yesterday, so
I know.
had a nice day.
Yeah. Did you do anything fun? Enjoy a spectacular meal?
I did. I ate big. I ate a steak, and I also I went to the beach.
Oh, hey. That is at least my favorite way to celebrate birthday, so great choice.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's fun. I enjoy it.
And as you know, I follow you on Instagram, and I do know that your car was featured on History Channel, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I've had this car. I had decided that I wanted a Bronco, that I needed to rebuild an old Bronco, a 74. And I never did anything. It just sat in my driveway, and then an opportunity came, and man, these guys went through my whole car. They went through everything, and nothing was untouched, and man, drives like a dream, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, speaking of awesome, a lot of great fights this past weekend, UFC 266. First off, I'm curious to know, how often do you, if you ever, rewatch fights that you refed?
I do sometimes, so I haven't got a chance to rewatch that fight in its entirety yet. Yeah. But sometimes I do. I'm definitely thinking about going to watch that one again.
Yeah, and for the fans, I know the fight you're referring to is the fight of the night, the main event between Alex Volkanovski and Brian Ortega. So many people are still talking about that fight, and a lot went through it. I mean, it was pretty intense, right?
Yeah, it was a really intense fight. Yeah, it was the fight of the night. And these guys, man, they laid it out there. I was like, I mean, that's what our sport's for. It's the best sport on earth. But yeah, that was a really intense match, and you could see, it was, the score doesn't tell the story of how competitive the match was, So I think it was a very competitive match.
Well, speaking of competitive, I know Alex Volkanovski, who was on the Schmozone podcast this past week. Everyone's amazed by how you were able to escape all those chokes, too.
Well, they were deep. I reckon the triangle was really deep, but because I survived the guillotine, and that was that deep, and like literally it was like, oh no, I'm just doing whatever I can to make that little bit of space so I can, get a bit of blood back to the brain. And I had like a moment, as I've been talking about, where I was like thinking of the family and all that type of stuff, and I'm like, man, like, you can't let this be it. You can't let them take the belt away from your family. I remember thinking something like that. So a couple extra movements, made the littlest bit of space. I'm like, oh, I'm all right here. And then the chin come down, and I got out. So after that, the triangle felt like nothing, even though I was in a very, very deep triangle. You had my leg, you had the right angle, I was laying on my side, and it doesn't get any deeper than that, especially with someone like Ortega, who's a finisher. And to get out of that, obviously that's pretty impressive.
What I liked about it was, when he got out, he celebrated right then and there on the spot. Yeah, with a big celebration. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, hey, I'm in the middle of a fight, but that was a big moment. I'm going to take some time to celebrate getting out of that, yeah.
And what about with Brian Ortega? It looked like he was struggling a little bit to get back to the stool, and he kind of had his cornerman help him.
Picking him up off the floor, not allowed. That's a TKO in itself. Your corner's not allowed to get you to your stool. I'm pretty sure that is an actual rule.
Okay, well, I don't think his cornerman helped him. He was laying there. He wasn't getting up. I think it was more of those, hey, it's time to get up, let's get moving. Because once they grabbed him, it's not like they had to lift him up. Once they put hands on him, he was getting up to get in the stool. But I think he was really having that, I can't speak for him, but I know what it feels like to struggle with yourself, and he definitely was spending some time talking to himself there, figuring out, digging deep, finding the strength to go on,
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of going on, what was the deciding moment for you? Because I know the doctor kind of came in and checked him out. Like, what did you see in him that you were like, you know what, he's ready to go and I'm going to continue the fight?
Well, what was interesting is he got that minute rest period, and he was able to, because basically at the end of the round, it was exhaustion, I think, is what was, he had given it his all. And then the physician comes in and medically clears him, says he's clear. And when some of his answers weren't exactly clear, but then when he looked at me and gave clear answers like, yes, I see, yes, I want to continue, and you could see that he was ready to compete again, we'll say we'll give him another chance. Of course, we're going to kind of shorten, can watch closely, but he got out there and did what he was supposed to do.
Are the rules for championship fights a bit different than regular fights?
Not really that much. The difference, not the rules different. As far as a referee, I'll allow guys to set their own pace a little bit in the first and second round, maybe have more of a feel-out round than I would in other rounds. They're champion, they deserve it, you know what I mean? And I know that most of the time in championship fights, or most of the time at the UFC, people definitely want to be there. And they want to compete and let it all out. And definitely at the championship level they do.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you're clarifying everything, because obviously everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But what do you have to say to some people who felt that maybe the fight should have been stopped rather than going, the full 5 rounds?
Well, it was definitely was close to being stopped. At the end of the round, he was exhausted. Yeah. And, he made it through the round. And I think that a fighter has the right to make that decision after the rest period. Yeah. He made it to the rest period. Mm-hmm. His problem was he was tired. So I think getting some rest, a minute of rest would be the best thing for him. And he has the right to make that decision then,
Yeah, definitely. And that's why you're such a great ref. And I know you also have your referee course, right?
Oh, yeah. I've been doing that a lot. I changed it up a lot because I used to do 1 or 2 big courses a year with, a lot of people. But now I make really small class sizes and do them more often. I do them every other month. Yeah. And it's cool. It's a 3-day seminar. Guys, you can find out about it at herbdean.com. Reach out to me if you're interested in learning about judging and refereeing. And, I like doing it because I like doing it more often because I'm able to add little things or change little things. And some of these people ask me really good questions. I have people who come from all over the world, and a lot of them are very experienced in the sport. Some aren't as experienced as others, but it makes me better because these people always ask me questions, and I have to think of the answers.